Hello, mighty companions. This is Earl Purdy,
And Anna Kujawa.
and we are going to continue with sharing A Course in Miracles. And we are really about the practical application of the Course and really showing how the Course in Miracles can be applied to your everyday life and to your everyday situation and really hearing it. And so, those of you who are serious students, as well as those who are checking it out, we try to make it relevant to you and enjoy ourselves and have a good time. And we've been talking about the theme of healing. And should healing be repeated? And so, Anna, I'll give you a chance to greet everybody and say hello.
Yeah, greetings to all you. And thanks for watching, and thanks for all you guys' great feedback.
Absolutely.
It really feels amazing to hear from you guys and to hear that you're watching and that it's useful. This is a total blessing.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and our theme with this series, we've done the series on relationships that your feedback was amazing about. And now we're doing the series on healing. So healing of all types, mental, physical, emotional. So as we do these videos, always be thinking about what area of life you could use a healing in.
And also, we're giving you a little peek into Anna and I have been studying together for many years, and we'd like you to have an opportunity to see how we do it together, and it may be helpful to you as far as your own study of the material.
That's right.
Because we're really about what is the Course telling us more so than about analyzing it to death and trying to come up with our own belief about what it's saying and then trying to project it on the Course. So what is the Course saying?
Right.
And then how can I apply that? And what I usually find out is the Course in Miracles is actually asking me to do less than what I'm coming up with on my own.
Yes.
Almost every time. So should healing be repeated? I'm going to go through the paragraph and then ask Anna what she heard, and then if there's anything I can add, I will, and then we're going to go back and forth like that. Should healing be repeated? This question really answers itself. Can healing be repeated? Healing cannot be repeated. If the patient is healed, what remains to heal the patient from? And if the healing is certain, as we've already said it is, what is there to repeat if the healing is certain? So, for a teacher of God, for you and I, to remain concerned about the result of healing is to limit the healing.
Yes.
Being concerned about the result actually limits the healing. That explains a lot.
Sure does.
It's now, if you are concerned about the result of healing, which limits the healing, it is now the teacher of God himself whose mind needs to be healed. And it is this, his own mind needing to be healed, the teacher of God must facilitate. The teacher of God is now the patient, and the teacher of God must so regard himself as the patient. The teacher of God has made a mistake and must be willing to change his mind about it. The teacher of God lacked the trust, that was a mistake, that makes forgiving truly, and so the teacher of God has not received the benefit of his gift. So what did you hear, Anna?
Okay.
Tell me what you heard.
Okay. So, also, teacher of God also means healer. That's anybody who has decided they want to be helpful in the world today instead of harmful. So, what I heard is, if healing has occurred, then it doesn't need to be repeated. Okay, that's the first thing. And it says that healing cannot be repeated. There's nothing to repeat. If healing has occurred, if you've given healing, if you've given the truth, you don't need to do it again.
Right. If I've gotten healed.
Right, then I'm healed.
Then I'm healed.
Otherwise, it's not called, should be called healing.
That's right.
It should be called something else. A Band-Aid. Now, for a healer or a teacher to remain concerned about the result of the healing that they give is to limit the healing that they gave. Okay, so I, as a teacher and healer, I'm going to limit what I gave my pupil or my patient or my student by what? By being concerned about the result of the healing I gave. Okay, so then it says, And if I'm ever concerned about the truth or the healing that I gave as a teacher or healer, now I'm the patient. Now I'm the pupil. Wow, as soon as I become, did they get that healing? Did they get what I was saying? Did they really get that? Are they using that?
Yeah. I think about that a lot when I'm teaching. It's like sometimes as a teacher, I get concerned about whether or not I'm being effective. I'm getting concerned about whether or not they're going to get the result that I want them to get. And what I'm hearing the course tell me is that the minute that I'm concerned about the result of it, then I've actually limited the healing or the teaching that I'm trying to give, which is really deep to look at it that way. Because it looks like you're being more loving, and it looks like you're being more dedicated and committed if you're so concerned about whether or not you're being effective.
That's exactly right. And really, it puts a whole nother spin on our self-doubt as teachers or healers. Really, my self-doubt, which is, am I being effective? Are they getting this? Is this helping them? Am I being effective? Is really me limiting their healing and also making myself the pupil and making myself the patient and not realizing it. All right. So that's what's really going on in that self-doubt. And then it says, now since I'm the patient, now my healing I need to facilitate. In other words, forget about them, forget about your patients or your pupils. Now you need to worry about yourself.
At that point, I'm the one who needs healing.
Right, because you've made a mistake, and you must be willing to change your mind about it. That's what it means to now you need to focus on and facilitate your own healing. What does that mean? It means you got to realize, okay, I've made a mistake, and I must be willing to change my mind about my mistake of being concerned about the teaching that I gave or the healing that I gave. Now I've got to facilitate my own healing. And my mistake was that I lacked the trust that makes giving truly. I'm lacking the trust. He says a good teacher has got to believe in their own ideas. That's number one. But the second part of being a good teacher is you got to believe in the people to whom you give your ideas.
That's important. That's really important. Is that I need to believe when I'm telling people and teaching people, and then I need to believe in the people that I'm telling.
Right, and that those two things are essential for being a good teacher,
and
being an effective teacher.
And I can also see how that will work out in a relationship. It's like I've got to believe in what I'm telling my partner,
right?
And I also have to believe in my partner.
That's right, exactly.
So I can see how it works in so many and then like he said, and then if I'm concerned about the result of me being open and honest and sharing, then I didn't realize it, but based on this, it's saying that I'm limiting the healing that I'm trying to facilitate through communicating in the first place by being concerned about the result of the communication I just had.
Exactly, because really,
that's deep.
What I'm doing is I'm expressing a lack of trust and faith in the people to whom I gave that healing or gave that truth. And that's not very helpful.
And I'm also expressing a lack of faith and trust in the ideas that I'm sharing.
And like we said in our last show, we're expressing a lack of faith in the fact that it was my loving right mind that gave it to the loving right mind and was received by the loving right mind in them.
Right.
It wasn't given by my ego or received by their ego.
And the Holy Spirit in the Course in Miracles, the Holy Spirit is the loving right mind. Yes. So in a sense, we're doing a modern language translation because the Holy Spirit is the loving right mind, and of course the ego is wrong-mindedness.
Yes.
The part of the mind that doesn't know the truth about anything.
Right.
And it's really easy to tell, y'all, when you're listening to your ego. You can tell by how you feel. So if you're not feeling any kind of peace, any kind of joy, any kind of happiness, or you're depressed and you're worried, then you're not listening to your loving right mind.
That's right.
You're not listening to the Holy Spirit.
Exactly.
I wish it could be more complicated.
Yes, yeah.
That's the thing that I'm going through right now, Anna, is I'm really just, no matter how long I studied this, it still keeps revealing itself to newer levels. So 35 years later, it still amazes me how I'm more and more seeing the utter simplicity of these teachings. They're just different from what I've been taught. But they're not. It's not hard. It's just different.
That's right.
We act like it's hard, and it's like, no, it's just different from the way you've been used to thinking.
Exactly. I mean, it literally goes opposite to our very wiring. You know, the wiring of our consciousness, the wiring of our ego, the wiring of our brains.
Make sure
You know, it's
Okay, let me get you. Go ahead.
The unwiring of beliefs that we've held all our lives, and you know that us as a species has held, you know, forever.
Right.
That's no small thing.
No.
That's no small thing.
No.
And but the beauty of the truth, as the Course in Miracles expressed it, is that it's so simple that it literally cuts through complexity like a knife through butter.
Right.
You know, and that's the miracle of something that's true. You know, you could have believed something for millennia, but the truth is so powerful that one moment of accepting the truth can cut through all that complexity like that. So anyway, so what I heard is that you can't give truly without having trust and faith in whom you're giving it to.
Right.
And that's, if you're somebody who wants to be a teacher or a healer, that's what you need to know. And since you have lacked the trust that makes for giving truly, then you didn't receive the benefit of your gift.
Exactly. So you want to read the next part?
I do. Whenever a teacher of God has tried to be a channel for healing, they have succeeded. Whenever. Should you be tempted to doubt this, you should not repeat your previous effort. Your previous effort was already maximal because the loving right mind so accepted your previous effort and so used your previous effort. Now you, as the teacher or healer, have only one course to follow. You've got to use your reason. You've got to use your reason to do what? To tell yourself that you have given the problem to the one who cannot fail. And you need to recognize that your own uncertainty is not love, but fear, and therefore hate. Your position has thus become untenable. Why? Because you're offering hate to one to whom you had offered love. Offering hate to the one you had offered love, that's impossible. Having offered love, only love can be received.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So what that's saying, what I heard, Anna, what I heard is that whenever I've tried to be a channel for healing, I've succeeded. Whenever I've tried to be a channel for healing, and the Course defines healing as the undoing of fear. That ultimately healing is the undoing of fear. So if I'm willing to be a channel for the undoing of fear, then I've succeeded. Should I be tempted to doubt that I've been a channel for healing, then I shouldn't repeat my previous effort. So if I think I tried to be helpful and loving, and I think I haven't succeeded, then he says, then the Course, I'm hearing the Course says I shouldn't try to do it again, which is again just the opposite of everything I was taught.
That right.
I was taught you should keep on trying over and over again if you tried to be a channel for healing, a channel for love, a channel for peace. And then I also heard that if I really intended to be a channel for healing, that was already maximal. I had already given as much as I could give.
Right.
And so, but then I also heard him say because the Holy Spirit so accepted it and so used it. And so if I am doubting, I heard it say that I only have one course to follow. Number one, I need to let my reason tell myself. I need to tell myself that I've given it to the Holy Spirit, the voice for God, and that the Holy Spirit can't fail. So that's why my previous effort was maximal.
Right.
My previous effort was maximal because I gave it to the Holy Spirit.
Right. Okay.
That's why it was maximal. And that's why I shouldn't try to repeat any previous efforts, because it wasn't that I by myself am the healer. I'm the channel for healing.
Right.
And it's the Holy Spirit is what it's telling me, that it's the Holy Spirit who cannot fail. I've given it to the higher power that cannot fail. So I need to recognize, I heard him say that I need to recognize my own uncertainty, that my own uncertainty is fear, and that fear is just another form of hate.
Wow.
And so my position now has become untenable because I'm really offering fear and hate. When am I offering fear and hate? When I doubt that I've been successful because I did what a channel for healing is supposed to do.
Right.
And a channel for healing is supposed to give it to the one who cannot fail. And the one who cannot fail is the Holy Spirit. And so when I'm doubting and uncertain, now I'm giving you fear instead of giving you love. And then he says, well, if you really have offered love for real, only love can be received. So the breakthrough thought in that paragraph for me was to understand that when he says I should repeat my effort because it was maximal, I really heard that the maximal effort that you can do is give it to the Holy Spirit to solve it. That's the maximal.
Me too. That's what I heard too, that's the maximal. And it's also really ultimately your function, your job as a healer or a teacher. You know, it's not to figure out their problem for them and give them the solution. It's to, while they're telling you their problem, to be giving it to Holy Spirit.
Exactly.
You know, while they're, you know, and you'll have time because, you know, most people are, you know, are long-winded about telling you their problem. So you'll have plenty of time to give it to the Holy Spirit.
And the funny thing that I'm realizing is that when a person is giving me their version of their problem, then they're defining their problem.
That's exactly right.
And the Course in Miracles says that you should not define the problem. That is to the extent that you are not defining the problem, that the problem can be solved.
That's right. So being a healer and being a teacher means don't try to define their problem for them. And as they're defining their problem, as they tell you their problem, you are giving it to the loving right mind in both of you and asking for the correction for both of you.
Exactly.
And then when you walk away from that encounter, don't doubt that you were helpful. Don't doubt yourself.
Yeah, there's a part in the book where he says, you know, don't doubt the healing because of the appearance of continuing symptoms. It's so funny. It's like every time I wonder why it looks like I'm not being successful at what I'm trying to do, and I read the Course in Miracles, I see where I'm not doing anything the way that it's telling me I should do it if I want the healing.
Right.
You know, I'm trying to repeat the effort, even if I fail.
Yep.
I'm concerned about the result of the giving.
Yep.
I doubt the Holy Spirit can handle the situation. Then
That's
I go,
right.
oh, I wonder why I'm not getting the result that I'm looking for.
Oh, that course must not
really be working. I'm not doing a doggone friggin' thing that the book is saying because I think I have to understand it, or it's not true, or it's all up to me to do it on my own. So that's what I heard in that paragraph.
That's powerful.
Yeah, that was a powerful.
That's a good reminder.
Yeah.
Really good reminder.
Yeah.
If we'll follow those instructions when we are attempting to be a channel for healing, then we'll experience only success. Yeah. How about that? Not a formula by which you can only experience success. All right.
Okay. Well, it is in this. What's this? Having offered love, only love can be received, that the teacher of God must trust. Okay. This is what's really meant by the statement that the one responsibility of the miracle worker is to accept the atonement for himself. The one responsibility of the miracle worker is to accept the atonement for himself, to accept the healing for himself, to accept the undoing of fear for himself, to accept the undoing of error for himself. These are all Course in Miracles definitions of the term atonement. And I know a lot of people like to read it as at one-ment, but that's not the way it was dictated. It wasn't dictated as at one-ment, even though that's fine. Yeah. It was actually dictated as atonement.
Right, and the way the Course defines atonement is the undoing of fear, or the plan for the healing of the mind.
He says atonement and forgiveness are the same. So just remember, whenever you have a resistance to what the Course is teaching, say, I've just misperceived what I just read. Yeah. That's all you have to do. I'm angry, I'm upset, I'm confused, I'm just misperceiving what I'm reading. Right. Because if I saw it correctly, he said I'd feel lighter.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I'd feel some form of relief.
Yes.
You know, so use your feelings. He says that's the one right use of judgment is your feelings. How do you feel? So he says the teacher of God is a miracle worker. Why? Because the teacher of God gives the gifts the teacher of God has received. Yet, the teacher of God must first accept the gifts he has received. The teacher of God need do no more than what? Accept the gifts that he has received and give the gifts he has received, nor is there more that a teacher of God could do than give it and receive it. By accepting healing, the teacher can give healing if you doubt that by accepting the healing you can give it, let you remember who gave the gift of healing and truth and who received it.
Yes.
Thus is your doubt corrected. You thought the gifts of God could be withdrawn.
Right.
That was a mistake. What was a mistake? To think the gifts of God could be withdrawn.
Right.
But hardly a mistake to stay with. The mistake of thinking the gifts or the truths of God can be withdrawn.
Right.
And so the teacher of God can only recognize the mistake for what the mistake is and let the mistake be corrected for him. And the mistake is what? Thinking that the gifts of God, the truth, the love could be withdrawn.
Yes. Right. Yeah. Because as a teacher or healer, my one temptation, my one mistake is to withdraw my gifts that I gave if they weren't adequately received.
That's right. That's right.
Because that is what we call not giving in trust, not trusting whom you're giving to, not trusting what you're giving. And so when you don't trust the person you're giving this gift to, then when it doesn't seem like they have received that gift, you're tempted to take it back.
That's right.
Give it back my truth. Give it back that healing I gave you.
And
Give it back that love I gave you.
And I can see how it relates to everything.
Everything.
You know, if I think I've been kind to you and you haven't been kind to me, then I'm going to withdraw my kindness from you.
Exactly. And that's our lack of faith.
Right.
He says, remember, trust is what makes giving truly possible.
Yes.
Okay, so and because I am tempted to take my gifts of healing back, I think God will take His back.
That's right. That's right.
Always projection.
So,
you know.
So what did you hear?
Okay, so what I heard there.
Tell me what you heard.
What I heard there is that that everything we have been saying before about trusting that if you've given the problem to Holy Spirit, the loving right mind, then it was received, you cannot fail, success is guaranteed. That's what I've got to trust in. Okay. And that's what we really mean. It really means when it says the one responsibility of the teacher or healer is to accept the truth or the healing for themselves. That's my one responsibility as a teacher or healer. Not how good do I give it to other people, but did I accept it for myself? Did I use this truth on myself today? That is my one responsibility. Not how good do I give it to others. Did I accept it for myself today? Did I use this truth on myself? Wow, that's great. That's your one responsibility as a teacher or a healer. Wow, interesting. And then he says that the teacher or healer is a miracle worker because you give what you've already received. Oh, I see. That's why you're a miracle worker. You're just giving what you've received. But if you haven't been focusing on applying it to yourself, then you don't have anything to give. You're not giving miracles.
That's right. In fact, you can't give me the cup that you don't have in your hand.
Exactly. As a teacher or healer, you cannot give something you have not applied and used on yourself. And that is a major temptation that we have as teachers and healers. We're so fast to whip out the truth on people.
Especially in terms of what they should do.
And tell them what they should do for their healing and what they should do to correct that problem. We are so fast to tell people what to do.
But have I accepted that for myself? Am I using that in my own relationships? Am I applying it to my particular situation?
Exactly.
First.
Exactly. So a good rule of thumb for a teacher or healer, before you open your mouth to suggest something to other people about what to do about their problem, is ask yourself if you have applied that truth to yourself. And ask yourself, how can I apply that to myself? Even before you open your mouth. All right. So the first thing you've got to do as a teacher or healer is you've got to accept the truth for yourself. And if you've done that, you don't have to do anything more. There's nothing more to do. I love that. And my one job, my one responsibility, my one key to success as a teacher or healer is just apply it to myself. Accept it for myself.
What could be easier?
What could be easier? I can do that.
Yeah, trying to get you to do it.
Try to get someone else to do it? Not easy.
Not easy.
And usually meets with resentment. When you're telling somebody what to do, but you haven't done that yourself, what kind of result do you think you're going to get from them?
I love it. I don't really want to work really, really hard anyway. I want a life of ease and harmony. and flowing. And so as I let go of the control freak in myself that wants to be in control of my healing and everybody else's healing, and then I go, oh, the Course in Miracles, I could just accept what the Course in Miracles is saying for me.
That's right.
I don't have to try to get my friends, my relatives, my students, my partner. I don't have to get anybody else to believe the Course in Miracles at all. My job is to accept it for myself and then give as I receive without any concern about the result of giving, because I've given it to the one who can't fail.
What could be easier?
What could be easier?
Oh, that's the problem, though. That's way too easy. Accept it for myself. Give anybody else's problem to the Holy Spirit, and don't be concerned about the result of giving what I've received.
And that presupposes that there's a one to give it to.
That's right.
That's the other thing I realized too. If I have a basic lack of faith and a power greater than my own ego, then when I hear stuff like this, it sounds like it's telling me to do nothing.
That's exactly right.
What do you mean? Just give it to the Holy Spirit. Nothing's going to happen. You just give it to God. That's what a part of my mind that thinks that it's in control of everything. It tells me to give something to the Holy Spirit and then not be concerned after you've done that is me not being responsible. It's actually me not being responsible.
That's right. That's exactly what the ego would have us believe. Yeah. I mean, if there's... The Course in Miracles will reveal the atheist within us that we're in denial about.
Our own little inner atheist. And your B-theist too. You're atheist and you're B-theist.
And you're C-theist.
Yes, and you're C-theist.
And you're D-theist.
Yes, right. That's the thing about that a part of me hated about this book when I first read it, because I couldn't keep my face of innocence. I couldn't keep believing that I was nicer, more loving, and more conscious than I really am.
Right.
Because when you read it, all of a sudden you just have to admit either it's wrong or you're not doing what it says.
Exactly.
Like if it says, if you're concerned, it means you don't trust, because you're not really believing that you've given it to the higher power that can handle it. So right off, atheist, on my own, not believing the truth at all.
That's right.
And then your ego come back and say, well, only God only helps those who help themselves. So I start to realize I got all these little ego sayings that justify me still trying to do it on my own while thinking I'm being spiritual.
Yes.
Because I hear regular people in the world say it all the time. You got to, God only helps those who really does it for themselves. But then what's the point of God?
None.
At that point, it's just me doing it on my own again.
Right.
I have to let go of this belief that a mature spiritual person is someone who's autonomous and self-sufficient, separate from God.
That's right.
This book is about, for me, healing my relationship with my source.
Yes, that's right.
That's really what it's about ultimately.
That's exactly right.
Which explains the resistance.
Exactly. That's why the Course says our one problem is the authority problem.
That's right.
I want to be the authority.
Thank you.
I want to be God.
Thank you.
I want to determine reality for myself and everybody else. And I don't want to turn to something else.
You didn't create yourself.
Yes.
You didn't create yourself. I didn't create myself. You didn't create yourself. I didn't create myself. You didn't create yourself. I didn't create myself. You didn't create yourself. 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 You didn't come out of some cosmic accidental explosion. You didn't create yourself. I didn't create myself. I didn't. Where do I go for protection?
Yeah.
Where do I go for protection, for real? That's the question that I don't answer in all of my busyness.
That's exactly right.
Like you said, He answers, telling y'all, the Course in Miracles answers all those questions you've been asking yourself all your life that you thought there was no answer to, or no answer you heard was truly made sense. I'm telling you, that's why the resistance is there, because there's a part of you that knows if you actually let yourself hear this, you will be happy.
That's right.
You will be loved. You will be. You will. You will.
And the ego, there is a part of us that can't hear it and not respond with fear, without fear.
He says that.
He says the ego must respond with fear when you hear this. It says must.
Must.
It doesn't say maybe your ego will respond with fear. Your ego can't help but respond with fear when it hears this. And so there's the resistance.
There's the resistance. And don't forget, when we say ego, we're just talking about your fearful thoughts, that sense of a separated self that you have, that you're on your own here in a body, and trying to make it. That's
Yes.
your ego.
That's
your
the
ego.
human mind.
The
Your
human
human
mind.
mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So he says, if you accept the truth for yourself and you apply it for yourself, then you'll be able to give it. No, that's in period. Don't have to worry about anything else. If you accept it for yourself, you're going to give it and you're going to do it good. So he says, and if you'll just remember that your doubt will be corrected, right? Your doubt will be corrected. What is your doubt? Your doubt was you believed that that you gave a gift, you offered healing, you offered yourself as a channel for healing. It wasn't received, and so you were tempted to take it back.
That's right.
You were tempted to withdraw your gifts back because they weren't received as you thought that they should be. That was your mistake. That was a mistake.
That was a mistake.
That was a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't give that gift with the trust that makes their reception possible. That was your mistake. But it's hardly a mistake to stay with. Just because you made that mistake. That's nice.
You don't have to keep on making it.
You don't have to keep... That was a mistake, and you don't have to keep on making it.
That was a mistake, and you don't have to keep on making it. Raj, Earl,
Yes.
you I know you made a mistake, buddy, but you don't have to keep on making that mistake.
That's
you don't
right.
have to keep on making the mistake. You don't have to keep on making the mistake. You don't have to keep on making the mistake. Repetition, repetition.
Exactly.
Repetition.
And that's what guilt is. Guilt is like, oh my God, I made a mistake. Oh, I made a mistake. Oh, I made a mistake. You're staying with the mistake.
And you think the way to get past the mistake is punishing yourself.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
staying with the mistake.
That's staying with the mistake.
You know, that was a mistake, but it's hardly a mistake to stay with. And so just recognize that mistake as a mistake, and then that means you will let it be corrected for you. That was a mistake, and I let it be corrected for me. There you go.
Check that out. Let it be corrected for you.
That was a mistake. I didn't trust, whom was giving it. I didn't trust who was receiving it. I gave it with doubt. I doubted, the healing I gave. I was tempted to take it back.
I didn't trust that I gave it to the one who can solve it.
I wasn't focusing on just accepting and applying the truth to myself
Mm-hmm.
and not worrying about anything else.
Mm-hmm.
That was my mistake.
That was my mistake.
And I choose to let it be corrected for me.
And then he said,
Nice.
you thought the gifts of God could be withdrawn. If
Right.
you substitute the word love,
Mm-hmm.
it said you're saying you thought love could be, the gifts of love could
Yes.
be withdrawn. Anything that comes from real love
Mm-hmm.
can't be taken back.
Exactly.
It can't be, somewhat, how did he put it? What's love can never change. If it's real, you can't lose it. If
That's
it's
right.
real, it can't be taken back.
That's right.
You know.
And that's what I am feeling guilty about in my relationships. I gave love, and then I tried to take it back. I gave my love to that person, and then I tried to take it back.
Which meant it never was.
Right. And then I'm worried about the love they gave me because I'm worried they're going to take it back. And then we're just afraid all the time.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, that was deep.
All right. So one of the most difficult temptations to recognize is that to doubt a healing because of the appearance of continuing symptoms is a mistake in the form of lack of trust. As such, that lack of trust is an attack. All right. Okay, lack of trust is attack. Usually that lack of trust seems to be just the opposite of an attack. It does appear unreasonable at first to be told that continued concern is attack.
Phew.
Yes, it does appear unreasonable at first to hear that. It has all your continued concern about the effects of what you gave has all the appearances of love. Yet love without trust, impossible. And doubt and trust cannot coexist. And so hate must be the opposite of love, regardless of the form it takes. In other words, don't doubt the gift or the love, and then it's impossible to doubt its result. This is the certainty that gives you, God's teachers and healers, the power to be miracle workers, because you, us, the miracle workers, have put our trust in God.
All right.
Oh,
okay.
That has one of those sentences that boy, that just blows the ego up.
Okay, so I heard him tell me that one of the things that I do, that I'm tempted to do that I don't recognize, is that if I doubt that the situation has been healed because it looks like it's still happening.
Okay, I'm going to say, you doubt that you've given the healing because it seems like the symptoms are still remaining in the person you gave it to.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay, so if I doubt the healing because it looks like the same thing is still happening,
yes,
then he's saying that's a mistake, and what that means is that's a lack of trust. The thing that always comes to my mind whenever I see that is like, if I have a strep throat and I go to the doctor and he gives me an antibiotic, my throat doesn't immediately look any different. But I walk out the office feeling like I've been healed,
yes,
and I'm trusting that the symptoms are going to go away.
Right.
So sometimes it can look like you still have the symptoms even though you've gotten the healing.
That's exactly
so
right.
I need to realize that if I doubt that the healing has happened because it still looks like I'm going through the same thing, that he says that this is a lack of trust. And then I heard him tell me that that's an attack. Lack of trust is an attack, even though it looks like it's just the opposite.
Yes.
That he told me that it looks like it's unreasonable for somebody to tell me that because I'm continually concerned about something or because I'm continually concerned about a person that I'm attacking them, because as a parent, that really rubs me the wrong way.
Yes.
Because a good parent, for instance, thinks that what's making them a good parent is their continual concern about their child. And what I'm hearing is that continual concern of any form is an attack when I've given it up to the one who cannot fail.
Yes.
Now, me being continually concerned, if it's just me thinking that I've done the healing, I can see why that continual concern would be justified.
Absolutely.
But what I'm hearing him tell me is the reason why the continued concern isn't justified is because I've given it to the one who cannot fail, the Holy Spirit, the higher power, the voice for God. Then I heard him tell me that, yeah, it looks like you're really being loving because you're being concerned all the time. He says, but if I'm really loving, then I've got to also be trusting.
Yes.
So to say I'm loving and I'm concerned is impossible, because I can't doubt you and trust you. I can't doubt something and trust something at the same time, which I do all the time, especially in relationship. I love you, I doubt you, I trust you. I doubt you and I trust you. I doubt you, but I really trust you. But I'm really doubting
you. And I
you.
love you, but I doubt you.
I love you, but I doubt, and I got continual concern about you, but I trust you. Okay, and I also heard him say that hate is the opposite of love, regardless of the form it takes. So I mustn't doubt the gift. I mustn't doubt the healing. I mustn't doubt the gift of love. And if I don't doubt the gift, I won't doubt the result. If I don't doubt that the healing has been implemented, the love has been implemented, the truth has been implemented, then I'm not going to doubt that I'm going to get the result of it. And that's the certainty that gives me the power to be a miracle worker. And a miracle worker is simply somebody who puts their trust in God.
Wow.
So that's a great definition of a miracle worker. You're a miracle worker not because of what you're doing, Earl. You're a miracle worker because of what God does through you. That's what I heard.
Beautiful. Wow. Love and trust. You know, you can't say you love somebody, but you don't trust them.
I love you, but I doubt you.
I love you, but I doubt you.
Well, see, Anna, that's another classic example of what we were just saying about the Course getting you out of denial.
Totally and completely. And that's why there's the resistance to the Course
that
there is.
That's right.
Because you can't read the Course and hear what it's saying and stay in denial.
No.
Now, you can stay in denial if you don't read the Course.
Of course.
Which seems to be the preference of most.
Which makes perfect sense, because if my old self-concept wants to continue to exist, and this completely undoes my old concepts about myself and being separate, then the part of me that wants to be separate is absolutely going to be afraid of something like this. But then the Course says that too. You're going to respond with fear. You're going to respond with fear.
Yes.
You're going to respond with fear. So don't think studying the Course is going to be a walk through the park as far as you feeling good about everything that you hear. It's better to go, it's gonna bring up all kinds of fear and resistance in me, and I'm gonna read it.
Exactly. That's a formula for success if you want to study the course more continually. That attitude right there.
Yeah.
It is going to bring up resistance. I am not going to like it. It's not going to feel good all the time, and I'm going to keep doing it.
Because he says
just like with any medicine.
With any medicine.
Just like with any medicine. What medicine tastes good?
And then the other thing that I remember from reading the text that seems so appropriate right here is he says, there's a section where the Course says that the body's comfort is its guiding rule.
Yes.
So we don't really want to do nothing that doesn't make us feel comfortable. And let me tell you, at first, keyword being at first, this is not going to make you feel comfortable.
That's right.
So it's not going to be according to the ego's guiding rule, which is I just want to have a good freaking time.
I just want to
feel good. I just want to feel comfortable all the time. That's what I want to feel. And this doesn't feel comfortable, so I don't want to do it.
Yes, exactly.
And he's telling you what it's not.
Right, exactly. As is most medicine that you take, it's not comfortable to take it. It doesn't taste very good, but we're willing to go through the discomfort if it means not suffering anymore.
If the ultimate result is going to be a healing that doesn't need to be repeated,
right.
like if the common if the common cold was really healed, you would never get a cold again.
That's right.
If I really knew how to have loving relationships, I would never have a relationship that wasn't loving again. So healing can't be repeated.
Yes, exactly. If it's healing.
If it's healing.
Right.
You don't have to keep going back to do it over and over again if it's ever really been solved or ever really been healed, which means that nothing in the world is being solved through real solutions.
Exactly, because the past is just being repeated
over and over.
Exactly. But what we just read in the last few paragraphs is how real healing, which means continual healing, is accomplished. That's what we just heard. If you want a healing that doesn't need to be repeated because healing was real, that's how to do it. That's how to experience it. Accept the truth for yourself.
And accept the truth for yourself and realize that the Holy Spirit is the only healer. The Holy Spirit being the loving, right, sane mind that's in all of us.
Yes, exactly.
That's what we mean when we say the Holy Spirit. The part of us that knows our illusions and also knows the truth.
Exactly.
And that's the Holy Spirit. So for you, Anna, the next paragraph I'm going to read to see what you're seeing in it. Right. It says the real basis for doubt about the outcome of any problem. Did it say any problem?
I guess it said any.
I guess any means all. Any. So that means I don't care from everything from getting a parking space to realizing I'm one with God. Whatever problem, any problem. That's the other thing. I do not separate out what I turn to God for and say, oh, that's just an illusion, so you shouldn't ask for that. I go to God for everything because I can see that the lesson he's trying to get me is to go to God for everything.
That's right.
It has nothing to do with how good I am at solving it on my own. That I'm really beginning to see, no, this is a conspiracy to get you to turn to me, says God. That's all of this is a way to get you to finally turn to me.
Not to become smarter in solving your own problems.
Right.
Or someone else's.
Right. That's what I love about my fundamentalist Christian friends is that they really do, in their own way, those I've seen that are really sincere, believe that going to God is the answer.
Yeah, a practical,
they
real
really
answer.
do. That's to them. That's not airy-fairy.
That's right.
That's a real. The challenge or the misperception from my learning is the idea of guilt and sin and attack and the condemnation part.
Yes, indeed.
But the rest of it is exactly besides that, it's like the perfect belief system. Because it is saying, give it to God.
Yes,
give it to something greater than your own ego. Turn to something greater than your own personal knowledge.
Yes.
There's something greater than friggin' you, Earl. There's an intelligence greater than you.
Imagine that.
I know it's a ridiculous premise, but I'm willing to give it a little.
That's big.
I know I've tried. Hey, that's it's very big of me.
Wow.
That's right. I do practice bigamy.
Yeah. Yes, you
I'm
do.
a bigamist.
I didn't know until
it's really big
today.
of me. That's right.
Wow, because that's real big of you.
It's real big of me to believe to suspect that there may be something that knows more than me.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
Don't tell
Okay.
nobody.
Yeah. Don't tell anybody. It's just between you.
That's right.
And
us.
you and us.
That's right.
It.
That's
okay.
right.
All right.
That's right. We're
All
keeping
right.
this to ourselves. That's why it's on the internet.
All right. Okay. So you were reading.
The real basis for doubt about the outcome of any problem, check this out,
Okay.
any problem that has been given to God's teacher, that's another term for the Holy Spirit.
That's right.
For resolution is always self-doubt.
Ooh.
All doubt is self-doubt.
All
All doubt
doubt
is
is
self-doubt.
self-doubt.
And that necessarily implies that trust has been placed in an illusory self.
Right.
For only such a self, an illusory self, can be doubted.
Yes.
Now, this illusion of placing your trust in an illusory self that can be doubted
Yes.
can take many forms. Perhaps there's a fear of
Self-doubt,
weakness,
yes.
of self-doubt.
Self-doubt can take many forms.
Self-doubt can take many forms. Right? And then he explains.
Yes. For
Perhaps
instance.
there is a fear of weakness
Yeah.
and vulnerability.
There is.
Perhaps there is a fear of failure.
For sure.
Perhaps there is shame
Well, yeah.
associated with a sense of inadequacy.
That's for sure.
Perhaps there is a guilty embarrassment stemming from false humility.
Yeah. Check.
The form or appearance of the mistake is not important. The form or the appearance of the mistake is not important.
Ooh-wee.
What is important is only the recognition of a mistake as a mistake.
Nice.
What's important is you need to recognize when you're making a mistake.
Exactly.
So what did you
Very nice. Okay, that was really powerful. Okay, so anytime that I'm ever doubting the outcome of when I've offered a healing or a teaching is always self-doubt. I'm doubting myself. I'm not doubting that they got it. I'm not doubting that they got it and that they're going to use it. That is not what that doubt is about. It's about self-doubt. I'm doubting myself.
Okay.
And whenever I'm doubting myself, that means I've been placing my belief in my ego, which is my illusory self. Okay? And because only my ego can be doubted. If I'm experiencing self-doubt, I'm placing my faith in only my ego, because only my ego can be doubted. Now, then says something very important. Self-doubt can take many forms. Okay? So then the forms of self-doubt, can take, of which I had all of them, fear of weakness, fear of vulnerability. I'm afraid of being vulnerable. I'm afraid of being seen as weak. I'm afraid of feeling weak. Another form of self-doubt is I'm afraid of failure. Okay, check. Another form of self-doubt is I feel ashamed about a sense of inadequacy that I have. I have a sense of inadequacy. Okay, like there's something wrong with me, where I'm not enough. I'm not going to be enough. I'm not enough, and I feel ashamed about feeling like I'm not enough. And then another form of self-doubt.
Okay.
As if that wasn't
enough.
all of which I have.
Okay.
Is a guilty embarrassment stemming from false humility.
A guilty embarrassment that's being caused by being falsely humble.
Yes.
Okay.
Interesting. Very interesting form of self-doubt.
Falsely humble.
Yes, falsely humble. Like, oh, me, it's just me, and, I don't know anything, or I'm just, a false humility.
Okay.
A false humility. Oh, who me have anything of value to say? What could me have to say, or what could I have to say or do of any value after all the great things that other people have done? Why should I write another book after all the great books that have been written? False humility. Okay. Those are just some forms of self-doubt, and but the form of your self-doubt is just a mistake. Okay, the form